What's up, fight fans? Welcome to another episode of the MMA Hangout. It's your boy, Tony Kaladiud, and today we're diving deep into the main event of UFC 298, Alexander Volkanovski versus Ilia Topuria, undisputed versus undefeated for featherweight gold. And we're here to give you everything you need to know if you plan on watching this weekend. Joining me is the one and only Danny Segura from MMA Junkie. Danny, what's up, brother? This is a massive, massive fight, and we are only 1 month into the UFC calendar. And we've got a legend versus an undefeated, just beast monster. He's incredible. I am so excited for this fight.
Yeah. The last few fight nights have been quite terrible, and so was the first pay-per-view of the year. So this one on paper promises to deliver. So I'm super excited to finally, starting 2024, getting some quality mixed martial arts. So I'm all in on this fight and on this fight card. It's amazing. If you are kind of on the fence on whether or not you should watch it, this is it. This is it. I mean, we might be witnessing the end of an era, the start of a new one. Mm-hmm. We're going to get into it in just a few seconds, but super, super stoked for this fight.
The UFC last year put on banger after banger after banger. And this time last year, we were looking at Volk versus Makhachev in the first of their two fights, which was an instant classic. And now we're looking at, a year later, we're looking at Volkanovski again defending another featherweight title against somebody who has been... I'm running out of words and adjectives to describe Ilia Topuria to people. He is feels like a once-in-a-generation fighter, even though he hasn't fought the cream of the crop of his division. He hasn't fought Yair, he hasn't fought T-City, he hasn't fought a lot of these guys, but he's getting the fast track to a title. Can you explain to the people, Ilia Topuria, his rise and what he means right now in this title fight?
Yeah, so this was an interesting one, and I've been caught in like a weird situation with this one because I saw this coming like a long time ago. I feel like people are now seeing like, oh, snap, it's Ilia Topuria, this and that. But because of my coverage in Spanish as well, because I do coverage in both English and Spanish, I've been witnessing the rise in popularity, maybe a little bit fast forwarded than everybody else, because it's come through the Spanish side first, and then it's kind of had a lag effect on the English one. So just now people are realizing like, oh my God, we might have like a very, very talented fighter, could go on to lead to be a champion. People are saying win or lose, like he's bound to be champion. He might lose this one, but eventually he's going to get to the belt. He's going to be a pound for pound, one of the best in the world. Like people are already just putting him as a future great, and he's giving everybody reasons to believe that. And again, as you mentioned, not only is the skill there, but he just has sort of a tone about him that's very cool. That's kind of like a villain type. And he does a very good job at marketing himself. He's good looking, as you mentioned. He's got an entire country of Spain backing him. And Spain right now is so hot in terms of just hunger for MMA. I've never seen traffic like we've been seeing in the last few months in terms of just a specific country. Just to give some people some insight, over at Hablemos MMA, where I do my Spanish work, 46% of the audience is from Spain.
Wow.
I mean, nearly half of the audience of Hablemos MMA is Spanish, and that's trumping, Hispanic Americans, all of South America, Central America, Mexico, which we know are huge countries for mixed martial arts. So right now, we're just witnessing something very, very special for Spain, and specifically, obviously, for Ilia Topuria.
And just looking at this matchup, right, we like to do things differently here on MMA Hangout. Like, yes, this is a monster matchup. Yes, we will technically break down the fight in a little bit. But we want to answer questions for people that are both watching this for the first time, getting into MMA, but also have a foundational knowledge of the sport and of the fight and of the narratives of these fights. And you,
in other words, let me interrupt here. And in other words, in parentheses, in small words, when you watch the fight at a bar, you know what you're talking about. So you're not an idiot asking around, hey, who is this guy? We got you covered. You're going to sound like the biggest expert. You know everything you need to know from this preview.
Exactly. What I see here, Danny, is we are looking at one of those moments in time, right? And it goes across sports where the baton looks to be passed from one generation to the next generation. And Alexander Volkanovski is an incredible champion. He's defended his belt 1,000 times against some of the best fighters in the world. He's gone up. He's looked good. Obviously, this past one where he got knocked out with the high head kick, and it could happen to anybody. But he's looked as solid as a champion has looked through his reign in the featherweight division.
He's never lost.
He's never lost in the featherweight division. So for those of you, this will be a nice little nugget when you're at the bar or when you're at your buddy's house. There have been 4 featherweight champions in the last 15 years. 4 of them. Jose Aldo, McGregor, Max Holloway, Alexander Volkanovski. That's it.
And he's beat 3 of them. McGregor no longer in the division.
And he's beat 3 of them, and he's beat other guys that probably will be champions in the next couple of years. Yair Rodriguez, mainly the most impressive one. Mm-hmm. But it looks like this is the moment where we saw it in basketball where Magic and Bird passed it to Jordan, who passed it to Kobe, who passed it to LeBron. We saw it in football where all the quarterbacks would pass it down. Now Brady to Mahomes. Mahomes just winning another Super Bowl. It feels like if this is the moment, Volkanovski can pass it down to the next generation, Ilia Topuria. It feels to me a bit like the situation where McGregor came in, had some fights against guys that were okay, but was a star, then took that turn where he knocked out Jose Aldo, and then the sky was the limit for him. Like, if Ilia can knock out Volk or beat him the way that he's talking about beating him, this is the stage setter where the sky is the limit for this kid.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great way of putting it. We're looking almost at 2 storylines competing against each other, right? Is Volk too old, right? Is he getting old? Or, is this a new start of Ilia Topuria in his era? Or is Volk still at the top, right? Like, there's all these questions surrounding who's the man at this point in time. And it's crazy because Volkanovski, as you mentioned, has defended the belt a million times. He not so long ago was the #1 pound for pound fighter on the planet as far as mixed martial arts is concerned. Just the most respected guy you can find in mixed martial arts, right? He has a rough 2023 going 1-2, losing twice to Islam Makhachev in attempts to become a 2-division UFC champion by moving up to lightweight. But he does defend his belt at 145 pounds against Jair Rodriguez. So if we just erase what's happening a weight class above, the dude's had a spotless record, right? But he is 35 years old, and I want to throw out a stat out there. You can throw that at the bar, too. You look like a genius. Between 125 pounds and 170, which are considered the lighter weight classes, in title fights, fighters that are 35 or older are 4-31. And 2 of those wins came on the women's side. And 2 of those other wins came on the men's side, but with 1 fighter, Tyron Woodley.
T. Wood.
If you look at the track record, Usman, Cejudo, like all these greats that have fought for titles at 35 plus,
doesn't end good.
Statistically, you do not do well. So stats are against Volkanovski here. He's coming off 2 losses in 2023. He's talked about the mental health issues. He was day drinking and had a bit of a spell, right? Like, if there's a time to pass the torch, right? If there's a time to fight Volkanovski, which there'll never be a good time to fight him, it's always going to be a tough fight. It's now. And he's facing an undefeated, hungry, super confident, somebody that already changed his Instagram bio
to champion.
UFC featherweight champion. I mean,
he's got the movie coming out too.
Yeah.
Like, that's one of the things I love. Let's really quick give people technical breakdowns for the last 2 minutes here. Volkanovski, incredible on his feet, incredible on the ground. Topuria, the same thing. And you were there in person when he flattened Josh Emmett 14 times. Yeah. And Josh Emmett's a tough guy to bring down, and he was just destroying him all fight. He's great on the ground, Greco-Roman background, great on his feet. Like, this is a clash of the titans where at both levels, on the ground and on the feet, they're excellent.
Yes. This is like Terminator 2. Like, Arnold was like that older version of the Terminator. And then you got the guy that's got the fluid metal. That's how it is. It's like Ilya just seems like the 2.0 version. But man, that experience, that aura of greatness, the fact that you've been there, defended your belt, Arnold is Arnold, right? Like so I don't know, man. This is a fantastic one. But yes, this is Ilia Topuria is by far the most well-rounded fighter that Volkanovski has faced at 145 pounds.
Right.
Ilia Topuria is way more well-rounded than Ortega, than Jay Rodriguez, than Holloway. You meant like whoever it is, this is it. This is his toughest test and is coming at his most vulnerable point. They're both very, very skilled, very similar. I would say that Topuria is a bit more of a bruiser, likes to move forward, likes to put on the pain. Volkanovski is a bit more strategic, likes to pick his spots, his attacks. He's a little bit more finesse, but just a beautiful storyline and a beautiful matchup, just technically speaking, really.
What do you think? We got less than a minute. Is the torch being passed down to Ilia Topuria, or is Volk gonna just dig deep and find some magic, some Volk magic from back in the day? I'm pushing all of my chips on the center of the table, and I think Ilia Topuria is going to be our featherweight champion. I'm pushing them all into the middle right now.
This is going to be, I feel like, a war, a 5-round war, where it feels like both fighters won. Both fighters are going to have respect for each other, but in the end, I think Ilia Topuria is going to get his hand raised.
I think I've listened to him on Ariel's show, just listening to things he's talking about. He's like, I've manifested this. I've seen this before. I'm going to get my hand raised. And he's been right every single time. He's got the rose waiting for – he's got a rose for every fighter that he's faced. He's got a rose for Volkanovski put in the box. Like, this is going to be one of the best fights of the year. We can already say it's February, and it's going to be one of the best fights in the year. And that's including 299, 300 that the main event still hasn't been talked about. Like, there's a lot of stuff to go yet in this year. And this is the fight that I'm probably most excited for. Danny Segura, MMA Junkie. Plug your stuff on the way out, brother.
Yeah, check out my English work over at MMA Junkie and my Spanish work at Hablemos MMA.
Love it, bro. A lot of good stuff on this card, too. Buy the card. It's going to be exciting. MMA Hangout coming soon. I think we're going to be live somewhere. I'll let you guys know soon. Peace. Love you.